Hey, look who I ran into.
Hi, what's up? How you doing? I'm Andre. I'm from Black Nerd Comedy, and now I'm up on here. Yeah, I'm taking over. This is my channel now. I've decided to. Yeah, this is mine.
No, I
Bye.
can't. I can do it too.
Nope.
I can.
Hi, I'm Andre. Welcome to Two Drink Minimum. This is now my channel. I have now taken over his channel, and yours is next, and yours, and yours, and yours.
Forget the movie, the theater gets a 0 out of 15 for lack of chili dogs. Party people in the place to be, what's going on? It's me, can you still see me? Oh shit, you can still see me. Somehow. Good, okay. So, I just came out of Sonic the Hedgehog because I'm a giant 12-year-old with a drinking problem. I don't know. So, first things first, trailers. I always forget about the trailers. This time I remember. Let's see. Scooby-Doo, the trailer out of that, 6 out of $15. Probably not going to see it anyway. I've never been a big Scooby-Doo fan in the first place, except for a pup named Scooby-Doo. For some reason I like that one. But this movie looked not great. It's that stupid 3D shit that all the animated movies are now, and Scooby-Doo talks too much. Scooby talks in short bursts. You got him with full sentences and paragraphs and soliloquies and whatnot. No, that's not Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo talks in short bursts. Let's get that straight right now. What else was there? There was a SpongeBob movie. Looked good. 9 out of 15. If you like SpongeBob, you're probably gonna like that movie. SpongeBob was just kind of out of my range. Just never really, connect with. It's good for what it is. It just never really got high enough and watched enough episodes to really sink my teeth into it. Despicable Me. Again, another 6 out of 15. If you aren't annoyed with the Minions, you're probably going to go see it. The two of you that aren't. And this monster wrestling movie seems like an interesting concept. Give that 8 out of 15. But they're probably going to get a whole lot about wrestling wrong. Will Arnett's the main monster in it. I guess it's kind of this flabby, rocky story, but whatever. All right, so those are the animated trailers that we got. Now let's talk about the movie. Let's talk about Sonic. So everybody knows the history of Sonic. The movie had that god-awful trailer with the god-awful animation. Then they decided, we'll fix the animation and release it a little bit later. Good on you for fixing the animation. I really still wasn't gonna see it. And you all know me. I'm as cynical can be. And I was like, I'm probably still not gonna see this stupid thing. They still didn't fix the story. It's still gonna be stupid. The animation is just gonna be better. And I was right. Except, you ever have that happen to you? You're recording a YouTube video and then copyrighted music plays and you gotta pause your video because YouTube sucks. Yeah, that just happened to me. So, they didn't fix the story. But at the same time, the trailer didn't exactly demonstrate how magnetic Jim Carrey's performance was going to be. Now, it's Jim Carrey, for crying out loud. It's honestly been a while since I've seen Jim Carrey in anything, really. Hell, what was the last Jim Carrey movie he was in? I can think of. I can't think of the last Jim Carrey movie. Honestly, for me, the last Jim Carrey movie I can think of is The Majestic. 15 years ago, and I love that movie. I can't, for the life of me, think of, I always got the TV show now on Showtime, never seen it. Don't remember any of the movies he's been in recently. What, Yes Man? Didn't see that. It's on YouTube, or Netflix, still haven't seen it. So, for me, Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber, again. That, I didn't see that because I hated the first one. So, But I forgot how magnetic Jim Carrey is. And when Jim Carrey is in his groove, or when Jim Carrey is in his bag, as my podcast co-host would say, go ahead and check out that new podcast. It just dropped today. It's fire. When he's in his bag, he's good. And it feels like this movie has a couple of different tones to it. I walked into this movie, first off, way too sober in the beginning, but I fixed that pretty quickly. And two, I came in expecting this to be one of those movies where if you're high or drunk or inebriated to some degree, you'll enjoy yourself because of that and because of how silly and bad this is. I expected it to be like, and you have to bear with me on this. So for the last couple weeks, not even last couple weeks, last couple of days for some reason, I was in the house way more than I should have been, and I watched all 7 Police Academy movies pretty much in a row. The first one I watched incredibly high. The second one I watched sober, and different degrees of inebriation from then on. And I've watched these movies, and I watched them get, really good in the first one. The second one, not so good. The third one, better than the second one, but not as good as the first. And then they all kind of stayed on this level until we got to 6 and 7, and then they kind of fell off a cliff. And so I was expecting this to be one of those movies where if you're inebriated in some form or fashion, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be what you want to see. It was not that. It was not as good as it should have been. Hold on, let me see if I can do this a different way. Trying to get light while not getting too much attention to myself while I'm driving, but I think that's fine. You do the kind of dark, shadowy thing. Yeah. Got enough glitter from the coat. Anyway, it wasn't that. The best parts of the movie were Jim Carrey and occasionally Ben Schwartz. First off, the severe lack of Jaleel White is troubling. He couldn't even make a cameo. We couldn't have him. There was a fight bar scene. We couldn't have him in the bar scene having a fight or something. He couldn't be the brother-in-law of the black chick you see, or the brother of the black chick you see in the trailer, who happens to be the white dude's wife. We couldn't see him. He couldn't get a role. He couldn't get a role. They did a lot of callbacks to a lot of different Sonic things. One of his guitars was green from that stupid cartoon he had where he apparently had a couple of siblings and they all played instruments for some reason, again played by Jaleel White. He did, in fact, ingest some chili dogs at this kind of Texas bar. It wasn't until at least halfway through the movie, but he did, in fact, have some chili dogs. Let's see, there were the rings, obviously. You heard a couple of bits of the score from the video games there at different intervals. So they paid some sort of lip service to some of the lore of Sonic in different intervals. But Jaleel White, let's divert here for a second and talk about Master Jaleel for one hot second. From 1993 to 2005, I think, not even 2003, for the better part of a decade, Jaleel White was the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. For better or worse, that stupid animated show where there was a robot chicken, not robot chicken, but there was a chicken that was a robot, and a rooster, another bird, an ostrich or something that was a robot. That stupid show to the much better Saturday morning show. Sonic, he can really move. Sonic, he's got an attitude. Sonic, he's the fastest thing alive. He's the fastest thing alive. He's the fastest thing alive. Unlike this motherfucker who is just crawling across the street just because he can move. Yes, but he was the voice from the good Sonic, for the bad Sonic rather, to the good Sonic, to again the whatever Sonic, to again the really bad Sonic. But this man was the voice. He was the voice. Sleep, you don't like Steve Urkel if you want to. I have grown to not particularly like Steve Urkel at all. But however, Jaleel White, the actor, you have to give some props to. Jaleel White, the actor, held court on television screens. Dominated television screens for well over a decade, both for Family Matters and Sonic the Hedgehog. Jaleel made money. You understand? Jaleel White was good for green. Do you understand? Black Jaleel White was good for green. You understand what I'm saying to you right now? Brother, assalamu alaikum, brother. Anyway, he couldn't get a cameo. Y'all couldn't have him as the assistant of Dr. Robotnik, right? They had this new cat in there or whatever. Like, he couldn't be seen on screen anywhere. Nowhere. Y'all couldn't call him somewhere and say, hey, Jaleel, we're doing this movie. Why don't you come on board? Come on, y'all. Come on. They dug up Ann B. Davis for the Brady Bunch movie, but you can't find Jaleel's got Instagram. He's on the gram. You can't give him a call. Come on now. Come on. You can't get any release of this movie during Black History Month, and you can't give Jaleel White a call? Come on. We need to march for Jaleel White. Daggone it. Messing around with all these frivolous things like taxes and rights and stuff. Nah, we need to march for Jaleel White being in the Sonic movie. Anyway, so the story doesn't matter because there's not much of a story. They paste, and I mean paste. I mean abjectly just glue some garbage on the front of this movie where Sonic is in this planet and he's protected by this owl, and he's a little baby Sonic. He has to keep his thing a secret, except he's running around the stupid forest, making himself super visible all the time. And then some no-name enemies who we never see again find the nest and shoot arrows, and the mother owl protects him by giving him these rings. So these rings don't give him life, but these rings, to an extent, extend his life because he can throw the rings out in their portal. And all he has to do is think about where he wants the other end of that portal to be, and he can go through those rings, right? So Mother Owl thinks of Earth, planet Earth. It's a compatible planet to his. Thinks of that, gives him a pouch full of rings, sends him on his way as arrows come flying to her, but we don't see her die. This is all very early. This is all really without any kind of real setup. It's like 2 minutes in the movie just to let you know why Sonic's on Earth. It could have been played for more laughs. It could have been played more goofy, but they're kind of playing it straight in the beginning, which is weird, and comes back to the core issue with the movie of duality. Does the movie want to be does the movie want to play into how stupid it is, or does the movie actually want to be serious? And there are some times where it tries to be serious. There's that first part, it tries to be serious, although it's very haphazard because it's very quick. It's very shoddily done. And there are other parts like Sonic gets hurt. You know, he builds a connection with is James Marsden, that guy's name? Builds a connection. We're just gonna call him that, whether it is or is not. He builds a connection with James Marsden. It's their buddy road trip movie or whatever. And you know, you're my real friend, and you know, whatever. It tries to build that connection. Their connection as friends works barely, but it does work. It does succeed in letting you know these guys are friends. Now, the problem with that in this particular movie is the road trip aspect takes up an inordinate amount of this movie. An inordinate amount, way too much of this movie is James Marsden and Sonic in a truck. Entirely too much. Yes, go arrest the writers of this movie, policeman. That way. Yes, go that way. That's where they went. Writers, by the way. I said writers.
Took 2 people to write that?
Yes, Isaac, it took 2 people to write that. An inordinate amount of them in the car, in the truck, this road trip thing, just to set up gags for Sonic. He essentially is Quicksilver, or has the abilities of Quicksilver, in that he can, in that essentially it's almost like he can stop time, or time is frozen for him while he's running fast. So he puts things in place and stuff like that. You've seen that in the trailer. This is not really spoiler territory. And so what? I'm doing spoilers. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. All right, this ain't Little Women. All right, this ain't Jane Austen. This ain't Joker. Although depending on who you ask, Joker ain't Joker. But this ain't, you know what I mean? This ain't Citizen Kane. All right, it's not a whole lot to dissect here. It's just this stupid paint by numbers. Not even really paint by numbers. They paint by some of the numbers, but skip over some of the numbers. Buddy comedy thing, not even kind of buddy comedy thing. Ben Schwartz is fine as Sonic. I don't hate Ben Schwartz as Sonic. I don't. He's got a better voice for the character really than Jaleel White, but you had Jaleel White in that role 15 years. Hashtag justice for Jaleel. His voice is fine. Some of the gags, almost a little forced. They kind of, throw some stuff in there for the kids. And it's like, and there were a couple kids in the crowd tonight, which I kind of expected. They laughed at the stupid stuff in the trailers. I really didn't hear them laugh much in the movie. It's not a whole lot of funny stuff. Wasn't a whole lot of like, ha-ha, knee slapper stuff. There were a couple of things that I kind of chuckled at because they were more adult-oriented in the jokes, and they all came from Jim Carrey. All of them. There are a couple of things that I like acknowledged in my brain that's a joke, and that's sort of a well-made joke. And I can see what they were going for there. The attempt, I'm not gonna fault them on the attempt of the joke. Came from Sonic. Everything else was all kind of there. James Marsden is non-playable character, blank, typical, 90s white dude with muscles, fit white dude, not even muscles, not like muscles like, Cap, but like fit enough white dude from the 90s, interchangeable with every single other one. He's a blank, he's a Ken doll. And that's all he is. He's got a couple of lines that if they were delivered by somebody who's a better actor, or at least in this environment is better suited for it, probably would have been funnier. But he's a blank Ken doll. He's amorphous. He's there's no shape or form or real value to him in this movie. There's no form or value to this movie in general. It didn't need to be made. I walked out of it still thinking it didn't need to be made. But since it's made, and since the studio, for the first time anywhere, listened to the public, listened to the fans, I had to give it an opportunity. I had to, give it a shot and say, hey, I appreciate you guys trying. I had to come out and say, I appreciate the effort you guys put in to actually listen to us and pay attention when people were like, this is hot garbage, change it. When somebody actually said, delete this, and they actually deleted it, and I can't be mad at them for actually deleting it. In terms of, again, the story, we're not talking about a super complicated story. Robotnik is sent by the military to find Sonic, who crashed all of the West Coast, apparently, except for San Francisco, because Marsden's wife, the black chick, is in San Francisco with her sister, and they seem to have power just fine, but, he crashed all of the West Coast, apparently. Don't think too hard about this movie or blood will shoot out your nose. It's everything is there to get you to point A or point B. There are a couple things that CinemaSins is going to have a field day with, including but not limited to. The reason why they have to go to San Francisco is because James Marsden is about to move to San Francisco, and he's wearing a San Francisco shirt when he finds Sonic and hits him with the tranquilizer dart. Sonic's about to transport to the Mushroom Kingdom, which he doesn't want to go to because he hates mushrooms. I think that was a dig at Mario. but he's about to go to the mushroom land, which he doesn't want to go to, but he's thinking of San Francisco because James Marsden's shirt. So he thinks San Francisco. The ring says San Francisco. All his rings go to San Francisco, land on top of a skyscraper. Sonic, they get to San Francisco. You remember that scene in the trailer where Sonic is in the bag and Marsden and his wife are in the elevator? Is that your child? Hilarious gag. That didn't need to happen. You know why? Because not 3 minutes later, we see Sonic scaling down the building. Why couldn't Sonic scale up the building? We have seen Sonic scale up vertical things in this movie before we get to San Francisco. And they're outside the building, they're looking at it. And it's just a contrivance to get all 3 of them up on the rooftop for this final scene. It's a total contrivance because Sonic could have scampered up that building, gotten the rings, and scampered back down. This movie should have been over 15 minutes before it was. If you're thinking about logic, forget logic. It's a kid's movie. I hate that. Treat your children with more respect than that. Please and thank you. So yeah, Robotnik's chasing them. Sonic is being fast. Sonic gets hurt a couple of times. He wipes out a couple of times. And eventually he finds his way back to Green Hills. So does James Marsden. They fight Robotnik in Green Hills. He sends Robotnik to the Mushroom Kingdom. We see at the end of the movie, Robotnik is more in line with what we've seen Robotnik before. He shaves his head. He's got the mustache. You saw that in trailer 2. He's going to make his way back home by Christmas. That's 9 months from now. That's enough time to slap together a poorly made, shoddily made movie. Sure, why not? Let's do it. So sequel bait right there. There's a mid-credit scene where Tails comes from the other dimension. And it's like, Sonic must be here. I must find him. And he goes tailing around Green Hill Zone to look for Sonic. So another sequel bait right there. The good parts of this movie, Jim Carrey, some of Ben Schwartz. The effects weren't bad for the most part. There's one shot where Sonic is like walking past a turtle. His shoe looks incredibly real. Sonic himself doesn't look as out of place in this world as he could and as other movies would have had him. There's one scene where he comes out of the gym bag. There's some underwear paste to his face. That underwear looks fake as all get out. There's no way James Marsden wears that underwear. It's a cartoon. But other than that, the robots are relatively well done, well shot. The chase scenes are well done and well shot. I can't knock them for those. And again, Jim Carrey. This is the Jim Carrey show, starring Jim Carrey as Jim Carrey with Ben Schwartz. There's like a solo dance scene with Jim Carrey in the laboratory with all this music playing, some of it with like the tempo from some of the video games, and he's getting all Robotnik in there and stuff like that. And it's Jim Carrey kind of showing back off to some of his roots, really. Not even necessarily with the contorting of the face, because the face relatively stays the same for most of the movie. It's just his expression, his mannerism, his movements throughout Jim Carrey. It's Jim Carrey. So that's the good part of this movie. Does the movie need to be made? No, did not need to be made. Do we need to see a sequel? No, we don't need to see a sequel. I don't need to see a sequel. I certainly won't be hyped for a sequel. If they do a sequel, they don't need to do a sequel though, because the movie, if you're gonna do a Sonic movie, and Sonic fans have said this for years, it does not need to be set on Earth. Sonic needs to be in his world, fighting Robotnik in his world, doing his thing in his world, and leave it animated. It does not, you can't do it. Because you really can't. They tried. I will give them a B for effort on their attempts to recreate certain things. That 5-minute clip in the beginning, but with Baby Sonic about to be thrown into Earth, They did a relatively good job with that. But again, that was CG. That movie would have been better than this movie. Mind you, we may not have had Jim Carrey's physical performance, but that movie would have been better than the movie we got. Or maybe you put the tennis balls on Jim Carrey, like you did Schmeagol, right? And have him do the physical performances in front of the greens, or what the other movies he's done, the Christmas Carol, right? You have him be the physical person with the CG, right? In this CG world, so you don't necessarily lose that balance. Or you can have, if you do a sequel, have Jim Carrey, the physical Jim Carrey, actually there with all the computer animated stuff happening around him. We're throwing back to the 90s. Jim Carrey doing that, with upgraded technology probably wouldn't be a bad thing to see, as long as you keep it in the realm of Sonic. I don't need him on Earth. I don't need to see James Marsden and his wife, have a kid, in this new one. He's got to protect the kid. I need all that. Get rid of Earth. Get rid of Earth. We're already trying. Just get rid of Earth from the movie and just have it be Sonic and Sonic's world, and then you'll have a better movie. This movie wasn't a train wreck that I expected it to be or even really wanted it to be. I probably would give this movie a higher rating than I'm about to give it if it were a complete and total train wreck, because at least it would be an entertaining complete and total train wreck. This movie, again, outside of Jim Carrey and some of Ben Schwartz, is nothing. It's a beige movie with little flickers of color, but really it's just beige the movie with Sonic and Jim Carrey. They tried, they made the attempt. They had a lot of good stuff in it. They fixed the graphics, but the underlying story going into this is still, they didn't have time to fix the story. Actually, they did before they decided to do the movie and finalize it, but after the backlash, they didn't have time to fix the story. So, with that said, I'm feeling mighty generous because I did feel that kind of nostalgia for Jim Carrey. However, there is a disturbing lack of Jaleel White. So, I am going to give this movie see, sometimes I'm feeling generous, sometimes I'm not. I'm floating between I'm going to go ahead, and this may be a high from the hot dog, but I'm going to go ahead and give this movie 8.45 out of $15. Would have been 8.50, but I swear to God, if you don't put Jaleel White in the next one, I swear if you don't put Jaleel White in that next one, woo! Yeah, I'm gonna go 8.45. I can't give it more than 8.50. I don't want to give it more than 8.50. I don't really want to give it less than 8, because again, Carrey and Schwartz kind of carry the movie. And they did fix the graphics. They did fix the graphics for the most part. They did it relatively well for a short amount of time. See, now I'm talking myself back into it. 8, I'll give it 8. For the effort they put in, I'll give it 8.50. I cannot give it 9 because the story is garbage, and it wasn't And it wasn't garbage enough to be entertaining garbage. It wasn't Snakes on a Plane. It wasn't The Room. It wasn't, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It wasn't, it wasn't fun. Like, it wasn't fun to watch the parts of the movie that didn't have Jim Carrey or Ben Schwartz in it. It wasn't. Sorry. So yeah, I'll say 850. I'll say 850. I can't, for the work that they did, I can't, just write a better movie. Just do it better. Just do better. Just do better. You did right by listening to the fans after the fact. Now, if you're gonna do this sequel, listen to the fans now. And more Sonic in Sonic's world, less real life. I don't need to see James Marsden. I don't need to see any of the humans, including the guy from Happy Endings. And I like him, but I don't need to see him. He was the deputy. I don't need to see him. I don't need to see the assistant. I don't need to see any human in this movie other than Jim Carrey as Robotnik. That's it. That's it. If you do a sequel, the only human character should be Robotnik, and that's all. So yeah, party people. Oh, I can do that now. Yeah, party people. So I've turned the light on as I'm ending the movie review, which is fine because now I need to hear from you. I need to hear from you down there in the comment section. Let me know what you think of this movie. As this is coming out, this video is coming out, most of you may not have seen it. Luckily, I live in LA, so we get an early screening of a lot of stuff, including Sonic the Hedgehog. So are you interested in seeing it? Are you interested in seeing it after my review of it? Oh, it's spoiler. Come on. Get out of here. You stop. Shakespeare this ain't. All right? Let me know what you think down there in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know how I can get a hold of Jaleel White so I can ask that brother. Brother Jaleel, did you turn down Sonic? Why did you turn down Sonic? Because there's no way in their right minds they couldn't get you in for a cameo. And if they couldn't the first time, they better the second time. Somebody get a hold of Jaleel White. Holla at him if you can hear me. Hashtag justice for Jaleel. It's a shame. That is a shame. I almost want to take that nickel back. But, nah. I almost want to take back the nickel I gave it. But I'm going to let the creative staff have their hard work because I'm not a Grinch like that. Let me know what you think down there. And I will see y'all later. And as always, cheers.
I'm a nice guy, I'm a nice place, with a nice smile on my nice face. Turn it back and I'm making sure my night's straight. And when you're out of town, I'll be making sure your wife's straight.